Welcome to Radio Free Will, a podcast for sovereign people. And we're coming once again to you from Greggstown, New Jersey. I'm your host, George McCullough, and with us again is Michelle Mockers, artist, activist, and philosopher. Michelle, how are you doing?
Very good, George. Thank you. How are you, George?
It's good to see you again.
Good to see you again, dear.
So the big news of the week was that the stock market seemed to have crashed, all because of fears of the coronavirus, which seems to be spreading all around the world.
That are the basic daily news. If you want, we are dealing in some. We were dealing with my little brochure all those past weeks, and it's a more general understanding that precisely the stock market yesterday, and eventually the disease, where it goes, where it doesn't go. You know, when you think about the disease, where it goes, where it doesn't go, you can think about, for example, you had fantastic civilization, the Incas. And even the people who built the pyramids, the Egyptian pyramids, people who had the means to do calculation that today we cannot even do. There are some stones, very not heavy stone. You cannot transport those stones on the top of a mountain, and they are cut in such a way that they fit into each other. Especially
right.
So, how is it possible? How is it possible that we have absolutely no remnants of that civilization? It's gone. Civilization is gone. So eventually ours can eventually gone and be replaced by something else, if there are still some trees on Earth.
So that could happen again with the American Empire.
Why not? The American Empire is not the whole world. It's a part of the world. We have a little tendency to consider the American Empire as the world. You know, and it's why, in fact, today I came into something that goes exactly in what you are saying.
And what's that?
Because you know that I do everything by myself. My little brochure, I am obliged to work all by myself.
Well, I think Anne probably helps you out a little bit.
And even technically speaking, I work on it. I print sometimes, and I fall on that story where there is a copy of a bill, one with the elephant and the donkey, and I say in some such a ways that, like that, by putting the name of God on the banknote, we have solved a problem which was absolutely impossible to solve. You cannot serve two masters at the same time. We don't serve two masters at the same time. We serve the money, we have the money and the money, but having the money, we thank God. The name of God is in our money. So the more money we get, the more the more thanks we give to God. Isn't that very logical, no?
Well, I must not be thanking God all that much.
But you know, I came to another thought about that. Because I say it is, what do we print? In God we trust. And in God we trust is basically, before becoming the official motto of the United States in 1950 something, it was supposedly the motto since the beginning of the United States, and the beginning of the beginning. In God we trust. And I'm not sure that in God we trusted all the time. Because and I came to the idea that the first slave that was imported by a Dutch boat in 1609 or something, and considered as a slave and used as a slave. So in that respect, we did not go with the word of God. God created man, and man, even if we go with Solomon, I believe, man in his image. So any man is a creation of God, represent God. So that slave was representing God instead of representing slavery. He was representing God. And at that time, the church, the good American going to church every Saturday or Sunday, we should have received that man as another expression of God. instead of as a slave, and he would have been invited to go straight to the church, with the white people. It is not said that God only created a nice American white man. But Americans have a tendency to believe that. And so that man, so you had the beginning of slavery, and the beginning of slavery is unacceptable when you think of we trust in God. That's not, we do not trust. We do not trust that God manufactured those people. And it was. And it was a mistake, and it's a mistake that we never did recognize, by the way. The church never said anything at all about that. The black people became the equivalent of the white people, but it was political, not spiritual. So the church never did recognize, in fact, that the slaves were the exact equivalent in front of God of the white people going to church on Saturday morning.
Well, do you think there'll ever be a black pope?
We never had a black pope.
No, but there might be.
There
might be. There's a lot of...
What is unacceptable, if you want, when you look at the history of the slaves, which were in some cases very mistreated. You had even some slaves, there is an example of slave, cut the foot to avoid, evasion, that they will not run away, So that is absolutely unacceptable. And if you believe that God created man, God created that man at the same level that nice people will go to church in the Sunday morning, in their coach, with their horses and everything. So what is unacceptable for me, if you want, considering the church, is that the church did not react to that, did not push some big cries that slavery was not normal. God did not invent slavery. Men didn't invent slavery. And men, because they didn't invent slavery, it's always the same thing, my dear. It's always the same thing today. Money is the big thing in the world. With money, you can do absolutely everything you want, including...
Money is God.
God is money. Yeah, nothing else. And the name of God is no money. Come on, we made God the money. So the money is because of money that there was slavery. For no other reason. The slaves were doing what the white people did not want to do anymore. It was too much work, and they were doing the work, and they were mistreated. You see, when you think of it, I talk maybe too much, my dear, but when you think...
Maybe.
When you think of it, there is a man that I know very well, because I read absolutely all what he wrote, and he was a very smart man, Jefferson. And plus he went to France, and you can follow him in France and so. But so Jefferson, how can you explain, and what name do you give to that? How can you explain that he went to make children to one of his small black slaves? He made children to a small black slave. So he needed to go a little outside to satisfy whatever it is. But so what was that woman? Was it a woman and at the same level as his wife, to make love with her? Or was it some kind of a sub? And the sub is not acceptable. And it's where it is not acceptable. She was the same creature by God as his wife. So, but how did the people who owned slaves considered? Those women were sold naked on the market. There was a slave market. They were sold like that. So, how were they considered? How could you consider what kind of level will you give to going to sleep with one of those women just to satisfy your needs? Whatever. So, at what level were they? Were they just women at the level of the natural woman, or some kind of an animal with you make love? So all that is, if you think of it, if you think that the church did not react to all that, did not scream against all that, so what can we think about all that? What conclusion can we make out of it? I'm asking
Jefferson was horny.
Huh?
Jefferson was horny?
Jefferson, he make it, and it has been because of DNA. You know that it has been recognized
Oh, yeah.
that those children were his children. In other words, he was going to go with that woman.
I'm sure we all have African blood in us somewhere along the lines. The world's been around for a long time.
Yeah, but that does not give the answer. At what level was that woman? At what level was the first guy? Was he exactly made by God? So if he was made by God, was an inferior race? Why
So
was
you would, if man was created in God's image, and then there were slaves, human slaves, then man was enslaving God.
Exactly.
That's what you were saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's what I'm saying. We are not. We were not. The church was not recognized what God had said, and God is the first thing in Genesis is God created man, and God created all the men. In fact, He didn't say that He created a white American. He created a black guy in the center of Africa. Well, why not? But why do we always consider that we are superior? And we are the slave, and we can use the slave, and we can torture the slaves, and we can sleep with the slaves. We can do everything with the slave. They are a lower thing. So that is to neglect or to refuse God what God said Himself. That is for me it's unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable.
And going along this line, you said that no religions were calling for the abolition of slavery, but I think it should be said that the Quakers would have a big say about that because they were one of the driving forces behind freeing the slaves.
Yeah, I agree with that. But some people had some brains. Maybe.
But it wasn't the Catholic Church.
No, even if some people have some brains, that say those people are not. They have no reason to be slaves. They are the same as mine. In fact, the slaves were the equal of any other man on earth. They were men created by God, which the church did not protest at all. Did not make any. They should make a big thing to forbid slavery. You know, especially in America, where it was a new country. But my dear, money.
Yeah.
They were making, the cotton and all that. You know the story of the cotton. And they were making what the white people would not like to do anymore, and they were giving freedom to the white people in some ways.
Well, it should also be said that America makes a big deal about freeing the slaves, but it should be known that America was like one of the last countries to free the slaves. Everywhere else in the world freed the slaves. I think France was one of the first countries to abolish slavery.
Yeah, who was the big star of the Casino de Paris, who is the big place in Paris, the big musical place in Paris? Hey, a girl who was a black girl. She was the star of the Casino de Paris. You never have, in France, you never have slaves. The black were the black. We never pay attention to the black. They were even in the French army. They were, they were like you and me, but not in America.
Well, I don't know. The France
Not in America.
did colonize half of Africa.
Of course, every country, Belgium has a Belgium, which is a very small country, had a big thing in Africa. Germany has big thing in Africa. England, we conquered the world, but after the conquering of the world, we didn't care at home, if you want. We didn't care if the black was a black. We never pay attention. I had some black friends. I never pay attention that they were black.
It should also be said that there are more slaves in the world today than back in colonial times.
Yeah, and there will be more, my dear. There will be more because it's always the same story. The people, I should say, the governors of the United States neglected completely the economic size of the population. They don't care. The Constitution is a machine, is a perfect machine for a government. No more. Don't ask that machine to have any meanings about anything else. The welfare of the people, it's all what they say. The welfare of the people. They don't talk in any case about what is the welfare of the people. And so you have the Industrial Revolution.
But they did talk about the welfare of the slaves in the Constitution.
Yeah, well, the slaves.
Because they were considered, what, 3/4 of a human being? Or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah,
Something
of course,
like
come on. And it's where I said that for me, if you want, church has not reacted as it should have been, as supposedly the representative of God. If you represent God in the whole thing, not a small thing with here and there and there.
How does the church react to moral issues? Do you think it acts responsibly, or do you think it takes a back road?
Well, if we go through the whole history of church and the whole history, basically Christianity, which is the most or was the most important church. You have all type of thing. Even the Pope having slaves.
The Pope had slaves?
Yeah, and 15, I don't know what. Some popes had slaves. Oh, come on. What are we talking
Couldn't they
about?
just had a couple priests carry their stuff around?
No, they had slaves.
Because it does seem like the church is very slow to react to issues. World War II, they never condemned Germany, did they?
Absolutely not.
What's up with that? I didn't even think Germany was that big of a Catholic country.
But then if we take the whole history of church, and especially, I should say, the Pope have been the most powerful of the church for many centuries, then you can criticize absolutely everything. And you are wondering why they did not react to something. You are talking about Germany. Why was not the philosophy of Hitler condemned? Absolutely refused. No, not at all.
Is it because the church likes the status quo and they don't like change?
And and the slaves, come on, the slaves are the slaves, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so we don't ask if they are the same race as the nice white American guys, or if they are not. And if the little guy the little pygmy in Africa is a man or is not a man, comparatively to a big, nice American guy. America has a tendency to that it is the center of the world and the center of everything, the most of everything. We are the most this, we are the most that, and we are the most powerful, we are the one with the most money. And the most money is the most disaster. And the future disaster is very possible now that we have something that can go inside you without you asking for it or even willing for it. Artificial intelligence and all that, the people, we will own that, and we will own the television, and they will impose upon you absolutely everything. When you see that today the kids do not develop themselves, their own personality with their handwriting, but as soon as they can do something, they're on a computer. And when you see that when you go anywhere, people are with their telephone. So all that can be in the hands of the people who will own, the power.
Yeah.
And that will be worse, because then at that you can absolutely reduce the coming generation to absolutely nothing except what you want and nothing else.
Well, you see the big tech giant corporations, they are trying to manipulate the elections, who gets to see what stories and everything. It's censorship.
It has always been like that, and we are in a country where the money.
The internet used to be a little bit
the most of everything, and the most of money, and the most of manipulation of election. You have some countries where the election, you do not have the right to put some private money in the election. Come on, you can put millions in the
You
election,
can put as much as you want.
as much as you want.
It's become the elections have become an industry,
And you call that a democracy.
Yeah.
The government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
I personally don't believe we have a democracy in the United States.
We don't
I
have
think.
1 minute of democracy, my dear. We have.
But we go around saying it, and we do the tip of our hat. They teach kids to tip their hat to the flag and everything in early years. But when I don't know. Certainly, I have never been represented or at least my political views have never been represented in the government. I get shut out. I think most elections are fixed. I can't trust the vote.
No, you cannot. You cannot. They're not free. They're not free, and you have 50% of the people who do not vote. I repeat myself many times about that, but you have 50%, basically 50% who do not vote.
And why is that?
Huh?
Why is that?
Listen, I asked some people, why do you not vote? And they say, wait to vote, it will change absolutely nothing.
That I can understand, but they can't complain about not having the opportunity to vote. You can complain about who you have, what your choices are, but they do have the right to vote, unless, of course, they have been imprisoned, and a lot of states have.
Listen, dear, even to have the right to vote and to have democracy, once more, you have to have an educated people able to think about what you are talking about.
Well, I even think uneducated people should have the right to vote.
Yeah, but how can they really think of what you are talking about if they are not able really to dissect, to know exactly what you say? Come on.
They might have intuition as to who the better
Oh
candidate
no!
is.
Listen, listen.
Look,
if you want a democracy once more, I repeat
politicians just they seem to just lie. So why I can understand what they're saying, but what they tell me, they do the exact opposite when they get in power.
Of course.
So
Of course, the government of the people by the people is the government of money, nothing else. Nothing else. Practically, technically speaking, nothing else. And the government of money makes what it wants as laws. As was saying Thomas More in 1517, something like that, he was saying the rich, when he reach what he wants, he transformed that into laws. So he can keep absolutely everything. That was in 1500. And we are, how many centuries later? We are exactly in the same position. The big, powerful people, the laws protect them. They create the laws for themselves. And that's it. And it's not the real guy who hardly went to school who is able to go against that. Forget it.
well, what's interesting is that the big, powerful, rich people feel like they need protection. What, do they know something we don't?
Yes. Of course, come on.
You
They
know,
need that they are valuable. The rest of the people are not valuable. That guy who knows nothing, he disappears. It doesn't make any difference, to the government. Now, the guy who is the most powerful, come on, you know very well, and we can go even in my little book. We can talk about that, and we will talk about that next time.
So
Where are the assets of the United States? Who owns the assets of the United States? Is that little guy over there? He knows something about that? Forget
Why?
it.
Who owns the assets?
1% own something like 39% of something like that. 10% own 42%. In other words, they own the America. It's less than 10% people who own America. Absolutely own America. You can say what you want, they own America.
And in this election year, we have 3 billionaires that are running for
Of
office.
course, come on. Next time it will be 12 billionaires.
And what happens to the little guy? He gets left to the side?
He has his eyes to cry.
Do you think it's going to eventually come where people have to have pitchforks and guns and take to the streets and to
You know,
make change?
you know, the main thing is that the people with the money, they want to maintain forever that type of government because they do what they want with that type of government. You have a government which is made only of two parties, and you have nothing else than those two parties. And those two parties are basically, except for details, they are the same. They are basically the same. So that's blah, blah, blah.
They're the same economically.
The
Their
same
economic policies are the
Yeah,
exact same.
and morally speaking, excuse me, morally speaking, the morality is, forget it. We manifest our morality with something like abortion, for example. One party
Right.
is for, one is which is absolutely, once more, not the problem of government. The government should not, absolutely not transform himself into a judge, a moral judge. That's not the work of a government. Government is for the material things. And abortion is number one for the person who aborts, not for the government. She has
Should-
to make the decision.
Should government be involved in the economy?
Of course the government is involved in the economy.
No, but should it be?
Should it be?
Yes.
You cannot avoid that the government is. You have to make laws. You have to have the economy to work has to work
Well, then
according
if-
to some rules. Otherwise, it cannot work. It's
If
a
the
mess.
government has to be involved in the economy, then they should just admit it and become a socialist country. Right?
Socialism is a dream. If you socialism means nothing.
It's not a dream to rich people. They have socialism all the time.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. But you cannot you cannot
I'm making
define.
Michelle stutter today.
No, you cannot define socialism. You cannot define what is socialism. You cannot define that because
It is-
socialism is
I can
absolutely
define
unable
it.
to define itself.
I can define it.
Oh yeah. Oh, give me a definition.
It's looking out for the welfare of one another.
Oh, you're a dreamer. You're a nice dreamer. You're a very nice dreamer. You are wonderful. You should be in the government.
I should be.
Absolutely, my dear.
I should be. I'm too shy to run for office, though.
You know, there will be no way that you will have some kind of a, let's call it socialist if you want socialist.
But you're always calling for government to look out for the welfare of people.
When Europe?
No, you are. The planet policies are
Oh,
always.
no, of course, no, of course. But
Are you a dreamer too?
No. But I say
You're
something.
not?
I say something, my dear. I say that we have to throw away what is today the government. We have to throw that away to establish something.
The American form of government.
The American form of government, as it is actually, you will go absolutely nowhere except to the catastrophe for the people with robots and artificial intelligence. You don't need the people anymore. And the people, we will tell them all day long in their telephone and blah, 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 and TV and whatever, that this, whatever you want to tell them. But you don't need them. And the people not needed are the prisoners of those who can do something.
That I can agree with. But we should
So
look
where
out.
are we going? We are going, if we keep exactly the same way of doing, we are going to that. We are absolutely going to that because the 10% who owns the country will be the 10% who will own the artificial intelligence.
And just a warning to the person who's in the 9%. Once they're done taking care of the 90% at the bottom, they're coming after your money, right?
Yeah.
The 1% will go after the 9%'s money.
Yeah,
Because they won't stop. They want it all.
the 90%
So
will not have the.
You folks should join us.
But yeah, because before it's before.
I'm serious now.
And listen, as long as it is time to do it, because there will be a time where it will not be anymore the time to do it, where there will be enough people completely under the whatever it is that they will give by the government, and we will not be able to react. You know, it's like that movie, The Things to Come. You know, the whole population will become very nice, very whatever you want. They will be exactly whatever you want, but they will not think anymore because they will be brainwashed, completely brainwashed. And when you are completely brainwashed, if you start to brainwash at the level of the kids, you will have population totally brainwashed. And you can do what you want with those populations. And those populations will never be able to change anything at all to their situation.
Well, but you didn't answer my question.
What is your question, dear?
Should government look out for the welfare of the public?
The government should be in such a no, absolutely.
You're
Come on,
answering like a
no, absolutely, no, my dear. The government. What is the? Beside that, it should be defined first. What is the government, and what are the rules, and what the government can do and cannot do, and that's it. What is the government, and how is made the government, and what are the means of the government? You should define that before asking the question that you are asking. So. Because we cannot answer that question without knowing what is the government and what can the government do or not do.
The government is the will of the people.
Supposedly.
Supposedly. Or I guess the government could be a king, right? Or a dictator.
My dear, the
Or it
government
could be the
is,
church.
the government is the dictator of money. That's it. The government is the dictator of money.
And the military. And the military is there to protect the money.
Yeah, but the military, when you
Because
do...
then, if money is God, then the military is there to protect God.
Yes, but yes, my dear. And when you look at the American budget, there is more money in the American budget for the government than for the people. To do what? To do what exactly? Why do we give more money to the government than to the rest of the people? We don't have the money for the kids to teach them, but we have the money to build everything we want to build in armaments.
So, I just got done doing our taxes, which that's me handing over money to the government.
Yeah.
Do you still do your taxes?
No, I don't pay any more taxes. I'm too old.
You don't even
I'm
have
out.
to file?
I'm out of everything.
You don't have to file or anything like
No.
No money.
No.
You don't have any money.
No. I have no money and I have no file to I have no, number one, I have no money. And number two, I'm too old to...
That means you have no God.
Exactly. and I have no file to feel... To what? To
But
tell
then
the government that I
don't
have no
have
money.
to- you
So
don't
the
have to-
government give up. They gave up on me.
You don't have to file?
No. They don't send me
never
anymore
heard
the
of that
file.
before.
No. Come on. It's no use to send a file to say that you have no money. It's no use.
But you have a bank account, right?
No.
No bank account,
No.
no taxes,
No. No, nothing. Just myself.
no pennies.
No pennies.
No
Exactly. And I am not alone, my dear. I'm not alone. And the people who pay the taxes, they could
So
not
you're even
have enough
below
money
the-
to pay the taxes.
You're even below the 99%.
Absolutely.
And you're proud of it.
Absolutely. But I can produce that. And I can produce the dialectic of the arts. Because I was an artist. And artists are well known after their death. That's very well known.
And where can people get copies of your
Of that,
documents?
yes, absolutely, at no-pennies.com or Michel Mockers, one word, at Gmail.
And you're not charging any money for it.
Not charging any money.
You'll just send them to... Yeah, because we don't want... And you'll even pay for the postage.
No, listen, I touch for the government, I have a monthly payment by the government. I don't pay my taxes, the
Social
government
Security.
pay me, so I can buy a few stamps.
But I thought you had to... I thought you had to file taxes for Social Security.
No, I
When did
feel-
you stop? Man, maybe we shouldn't be saying this stuff on TV.
Listen. I had an accountant. I had somebody to make my taxes, a specialist. I mean, a guy recognized by the government,
Yeah.
not to make taxes. And every year I was doing my taxes, saying I have nothing and blah blah and blah blah and blah blah. And one year he said, "That's enough, no more."
Wow.
and no more.
That's interesting. I never knew that. I never knew.
You know, a new specialist.
I got something to look forward to as I get older, huh?
Absolutely, my dear. When you'll be old enough, like me, don't forget I am only 97.
Yeah.
Huh? So now, you know, the government can not really run after me. Come on. 97 with no,
You're gonna
with
have
no,
to-
no houses, no nothing. I mean, no nothing.
No
I-
pennies.
I am an artist. I am an artist. And it's very well known that if you are not Mr. Picasso, you know, who destroyed the arts, it was his vocation to destroy the arts. He said it, which he did not destroy. But and the galleries of the time were so happy to sell somebody who wants to destroy the art. He made no, he wanted millions. You know, the nothing wanted millions. So I have tried to make something the reverse of that, painting as we are painting the people, the painters of the Renaissance, with their technique, exactly their technique. I wrote that book on the techniques of oil painting. But how can you fight against the money of all the galleries put on Picasso when you want to have something classic? You are completely out of matters. So maybe way after my death, some of my paintings will take their real, I should say real place. I don't want to say real value, real place.
Well, people can see these paintings, right?
Oh,
It's
yes,
on
absolutely.
michellemakers.com.
Yes, absolutely.
They're gorgeous paintings, folks, and you
Yeah.
should take an opportunity to visit
But you
that
see
website.
gorgeous paintings? See, today I don't pay even taxes. I don't have enough money to pay taxes. So gorgeous painting. What is the purpose of gorgeous painting? Gorgeous painting?
It's just
Come on.
for a person's enjoyment. It's
As
not.
it has always been said, the artist will be known after his death. That's very well known. That, yeah, come on. So in the
So,
meantime,
so you still have a little ways to go before,
yeah, oh yes. So oh yes, you know, yeah, oh come on.
and you're not going to see it anyway.
I don't know, my dear, what I will see or not see. I don't know. But you know, it's why I took the time. But I always took the time. During my life, I worked with some very, very big newspapers and things like that. You know, so I am used to write, to do things, and I have been a printer, real professional printer with real machine of printing, not with the machine of staples and the real printing machines. So I know all that. So it's why today, even without any money, I produce that with a little printer of nothing at all, of $200, you know, and I produce that, I put all that together, and I can write, and I wrote the dialectic of the arts. What does it mean? The dialectic of the arts is the only philosophy possible for the world to come. If the world to come doesn't take such a philosophy, this one or the same one, forget it. It's over. It will be the I and the robot, and forget it. Artificial, you know, intelligence and robots, and forget it. The rest of the people will be living on what the government will give them to eat. You know?
Wow.
You remember that movie, the Green, the Green.
The Green Hornet?
There was something that the government was providing the food.
Oh, Soylent Green.
Yeah, that will be for real.
Yeah, I believe it. We're out of time, folks. I encourage everybody to go to michellemakers.com. You could see
After what I
gorgeous
said.
paintings. And if folks want to get a copy of this document, they can at
Michel Mokers, one word, Gmail, or no-pennies.com.
All right, folks.
And you can find me at michelmokers.com.
michellemakers.com.
You can see some of my paintings and all that, michelmokers.com.
And do we encourage people that are watching this on Vimeo or YouTube, we want people's comments.
Of course,
Correct? And
of
we
course,
would like
absolutely.
to-
That will be very interesting, on the contrary.
And you would respond to people's questions and
Absolutely.
comments. All right, then I guess I will need to look at them.
Yeah.
So, folks, in closing, it sounds like the older you get, the more anarchistic you get, right?
Yes, absolutely. Because you understand everything about life.
And you just said it's not worth following any of the rules, right?
Yeah.
Okay, folks, we'll see you next week.